Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
And Guta. And I see Guta for ekoshia a minority. Na tie de ekosi the minority leader Alexander Afenyo has assured the Ghana Union of Traders, Guta, of the New Patriotic Party's commitment to improving its performance if given another opportunity to govern. Yes, see. And the Guta, Ghana Union of Traders Association, share minority. Afenyo Makin has someone catch up and say, oh, Mude Mumai another chance, Yabebuamo. Afenyo Makin, I catch a Guta for say, oh, Mude Munya, but most of my chance for Namon to my Ebe Bia Yamamo, Yabema Watomo. Yabe buamo yene, yabe perform better. Afenyo Makin, as much na Guta for any catch no. And the NPP jina Guta for him. Catch rom say, Omonto, Moma ye to me, na yabe dia mope. Next a Guta for so, agragrom. And you see, Debiano me catch a Ghana for say, NPP, Debiano, they do politics with these kind of associations. Owen said the president met the labor unions. And the president was blunt, straightforward, and he told them facts about governance in the Ekoso. Ade chinya so Guta formra. Makacham say one of the most partisan group in Ghana is Guta. Yeah. Ade chinya Afenyo Makin say Guta formra for a meeting. Ono Afenyo Makin promise Guta for say omo ma mutumi na omo be boa Guta for. Na nipa na we flag bearer no way. Kantanka model no way, kantanka model na nkasa way. For 8 good years you stayed with these people. People could not even ship cars to Ghana to take them out of our port. Importers lost all their monies. Omusike nyina sheye. But Afenyo Makin NPP who Guta for so me ya kromfo mo jiminti. O say oh Mena me Afenyo Makin. Now you Gutani, you are taking the word of Afenyo Makin. Otubejina parliament kasem adeche also meboa. Now why don't you face Bawumia himself or Bawumia to tell you? Anatina Guta for Monko call on Bawumia himself. Because anya Afenyo Makin am to Abamano ana meboa. Bawumia the president Teddy. So why don't you face Bawumia? Why are you facing Afenyo Makin? Afenyo Makin is of me. At the end of the day, how can I hold him responsible? He's a mere member of parliament. Afenyo Makin is a mere member of parliament. A pathological liar who can say something today in parliament, the next day he will come and say, I am lying. So, Guta, uya Guta, Pejina says, Sebio, why do you fear? You first have to ask yourself, is this person sitting before me credible enough for me to sit here and even talk to him? It is a woman who can only stand in panic. So, I one kata krampono, Sebio, why do you form to entertain Afenyo Makin to be talking to you? How can you trust Afenyo Makin? What is his credibility level? Because you people have nothing doing. So for the past 8 years, now in the MIA say, Guta for the way NPP they see them no. Today they prove to Ghana for say I am part. If the NPP they see them as idiots, they are in fact idiots. Yeah. Mamika Binchro. Guta for the prove which NDC NPP for say. Sabu we see a Jimmy I am a Jimmy because they also expose themselves in front of the NPP. And that's why I keep telling you people. And say Ghana no politics, any Jimmy be telling Homa, they cannot even think again. Now, listen, Guta for this is what they said when they met Afenyo Makin. Business climate, NPP and NDC politicians have allowed foreigners to take over our retail market. Is that what they want to do? Guta for, NPP for importers, they don't pay taxes. I am telling you, the leadership of Guta, 90% of them are imported. They don't pay taxes at the port. I will expose all of them. And if you go to Afenyo, I NDC NPP for I'm a foreigners for a juma. Now one man who foreigner bit for juma. How can a Ghanaian go into the Chinese market and take over the Chinese market? If even the politician allows Chinese to enter the Ghanaian market, you the traders, at the end of the day, when it comes to the market, because this is a free world, when the Chinese come into a country, so what we call China koji loan, and show China would the right to come to a country to do business. Now it is up to you to find ways to let your people understand, say, the things you sell is more cheaper, more better than whatever the Chinese is selling. You need to find a way to make your things lucrative to your citizenry. And it's now China kurumwa. Now you're gonna now could be choba kra. As much as choba near the best, Udu China, Omobachira will say they have ways and means their people will still support their own than you, the Ghanaian restaurant. That one is beyond the government. It is the traders. It is Omoamuya restaurant or China. No, they know how to collapse you, the foreigner, your business. They are not going to attack you. They are not going to come and burn it down. But they have a way. So Oton BB $1, 99 cents. They will do everything possible to make sure the market is not lucrative for you to fold up. But this is a situation whereby Uko China kofa engine 2 Ghana cedis. Uko China kofa a whole engine 10 Ghana cedis. Now Chinese need the same engineer 10 Ghana cedis about Ghana or beton 5 cedis. Now we don't general so beton engine 12 Ghana. Now Ghana ni na unim se adere nyina free China na on free one. Chinese ni na wusa mo be fanya man on ho a mo ba na mo de betwa nkofo Ghana. Enti baby abefa ba no ono ade be bre nkofo no ateso. So why don't you people learn to understand say some profit margin mo beteso. Ghana ni kofa China engine ba Ghana. Okofa driving mirror eba Ghana. Ade oton China $5 no. Chinese ni so Ghana no kofa sa nyoma na bi fi China ba. Na Chinese ni ton $2.50. And so na Ghana ni pay $7. Why? Now use the Chinese no steady market no. Chinese for no redeem when we say money brad here. Omo will say you people you cheat your own people. Omo will say you people you are greedy. So what they are doing is they are capitalizing on your greed against your own people to make money out of you. And the Chinese for no, they read the market. I don't think the Chinese for America MBA shops around. They are very selective where they open shops even in America. The shops in America they open, they are very careful about it because you know something, they know they cannot compete the market. So what they will do is they will rather sell it to an American who will come and sell it at a price they think it makes sense. But momoko China, namoko tonyo mana namo de ba, namo tiso. Chinese is what steady way we say. Monko for the ba namo befanyo mano. But namana mofano ne boy fo. Babu bedu kuruma nko for to minto adentra and they onwa de beba beton ma nko for no. And that is what they are doing. Mumi anko tie gutafo asema omokaye. Ebe omobo. Listen to them.
And the majority, because it is you, the politicians, that have allowed these foreigners to flood our markets and then trying as much as possible to displace the locals and then take the market completely. A critical example is what we are experiencing in the mining sector. Now, all our water bodies have been polluted by these Chinese people. And these Chinese people are being brought by you, the politicians. The Chinese people are being brought by you, the politicians. Because it is said oftentimes that both the minority and the majority are being blamed for the galamsey that is going on. Because you have your people doing the galamsey. And it is being done by these foreigners. Because you are the people who bring these foreigners, these Chinese people, into the country and then be doing this galamsey and have polluted our water bodies. The same thing is happening in the retail sector now. Now they have taken over every aspect of the retail sector. Let's talk about the constructive sector, that is the mining sector. It's been taken over by foreigners. The financial sector, the banks and all those fintech areas have been taken over by the foreigners. The communication sector have been taken over by the foreigners. Now the automobile sector is also being taken over by the foreigners. And the small retail that we are doing that even if you are illiterate, you can even do the retail trading, is also being taken over by foreigners. And excuse me, in your own wisdom, that you passed this DIPC Act and reserved some areas solely for the citizens of the country, those areas are also being taken by the foreigners, and you are not doing anything about it. I am glad that the minority leader said that he's a businessman, and I think most of you here are also a business people. I'm sure one day when you retire from parliament, you will definitely come into the business sector. And you come in, when you come into the business sector, and those areas have been taken over by foreigners, where do you stand? Where do you stand? Now, because of this situation, the price of shops have risen very high level that the citizens cannot afford to pay for the price of shops, and all the shops are being taken over by foreigners. Now, we have these Chinese people establishing...
It is so easy, eh? It is so easy to blame politicians and Chinese. It is so easy to blame politicians, which I agree. It is so easy when you have to accept responsibility. In Ghana, look for a politician and blame. When you have to accept responsibility in Ghana, no matter where you are, which position you fill, look for a politician and blame. So anytime you question people about their actions, why things are not going on where they are, their respective positions, the first thing they do is, let me blame the politician so that the pressure which is going to come on me will go down. They have the Small Scale Miners Association. They have their problem with Galamsey, right? They have the Drivers Association of Ghana. They have their own issue with transport. We are talking about Guta. You being the head. And you see, instead of them to understand that, you know what? We live in a country whereby we have rules that we all have to abide by. What he's trying to do right now in front of the minority is that he's trying to lump politicians all together to make it look like left and right are the problem. We Guta, we are not the problem. So the customer, they did not take any blame for anything. We were here recently, and a Guta catcher will still kind for say Abani be check your books, they should not open their books. Say GR Basse or Babe check some mutual movata. Catch your members say, Memo books. All because they feel say some tax be a banner their banner. Omuntiasie inti so mutua tax so muntio and this say these same people. That's what I'm saying. Say it is so easy to blame the politician. And people, especially from where I come from, Ghana, no, we never take responsibility for our actions. The question here is, you say you work with the Chinese in the system. Our laws makes it clear. A Ghanaian can partner a Chinese to open a shop in Ghana. The laws are there. The question here is, you are the sellers of these products in the market. How are you able to make sure that the laws now echo in your favor? No? You are also able to make the citizenry to choose you over the Chinese. How are you doing it? How are you able to do it? You have not told us anything. In the Chinese, do you think that the Ghanaian will see you attractive to come buy from you? So we need to first look within us. Look at how we are doing things right or wrong. Leave the other sectors for those associations to take care of it. Because you came to speak on your issue. Speak on what you are into. Say Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana, if they have an issue with mining, they will come out and tell the government and Ghanaians, this is what we are also going through. That is why we have different sectors of the economy. And we called you, and I almost said, Guta Mombra. And you said, you are traders. And you said the Chinese are taking over your market. We are asking you, you yourself, what are you doing wrong that is making the Chinese compete you in the market? Or you want to tell us, say, You guys are doing everything perfect in the market. That is why you are not getting your money, or the Chinese are taking. Tell us, until you prove to us that every single thing you are doing is perfect, then we will come and follow or back you people. But you see, this same man talking, he is an importer. Sometimes when they bring their things to the port, they don't pay taxes. And there your company say, move on free port, they start sit on it and sell it at high prices. And that is the problem with these people. So every time the opportunity comes for them to take responsibility, let's blame the politician. In terms of starting, both left and right, you are the problem. Who doesn't know politicians are the problem? But what are we doing as respective associations? What are we doing as respective traders in our market to take over our own market? If the politician is sitting up there, what are we doing as association? Then it means the association is not important. The association is to devise strategies and ways to be able to control the market. How are you not able to control the market? You are not able to control the market because you don't have the power. The reason why you don't have the power is because you have lost the market prices. Your greed is making Ghanaians choose Chinese over you. How can you go to the same place a Chinese in the engine free bar, the same place a Japan in the engine bar, then you sell it the double of the price? That Nipana Okotor or Abertoni cheap. Why does that happen? Say Chinese for no omnium say Ghana engine part and all the things they sell cheaper. They will not come into your market. They will never come. The Chinese always take advantage of markets. People are doing what? Hijacking prices. That is when they come in. They always come in and drop prices when they get to know you are not able to manage your pricing. In the Chinese one, they wait and they watch the system. I'm going to say your margins, they look at your margins. If the margins you people are making of the things you are buying from them, say this 7%, they will look and enter the market and start to look at 3% margins. So you need to find a way to seal that margin gap. Send a Chinese because Chinese is looking at your loopholes. And the greatest loophole is you people being greedy and holding on to high prices. And that is what the Chinese are taking advantage of. So it is easy to blame the politician. It's fine. Everybody can blame a politician. But you say leader of Guta. Dear pa na odia ba, idea ba na odia ba. Dear no what to make change about Guta. A dear innovation odia ba. Emma Guta being Guta that is able to control the market, but its members. You don't have any ideas. You chose and you became the leaders of Guta because it gives you the privilege to be able to import and pay less at the port. That is why Guta presidency bedaho, secretary bedaho, treasurer bedawa. You people pay so much money to take those positions. Yeah. So I'm saying, blaming the politician, it is easy, an easy way out because you don't want to take responsibility for your own carelessness and your greed. It is a greed. Chinese cannot come into your market if your margins are small. How can we get to this point where a biochemistry student who could not pursue biochemistry to become whatever he wants to be today wearing tie, he knows how we have to manage our economy. Yeah, Jimmy. Now, the party power. What did he do in his own constituency? He could not even manage the affairs of Ofosa Yiribi. Now, these statements are vague. The reason why I say these statements are vague, then they say, let me show you people something first about gold. Let me show. The prices of gold, another price of gold is still falling. Let me show. Intinanka Kofi Bento Kwasiano, Nanka Mpesi Etina ho, then the gold prices now are falling totally. No, Satan and Kayenton gold. No, you people are foolish men. Okay? This is the data and the gold. I'm sure gold prices in there. Look, you see this? Thank you very much, Mr. S. Thank you for bringing this in. You see this? This is how gold is dropping. You see? You see the price of gold? It is dropping every single day. Or maybe a gold could do 5,200. A Koya could do 5,600 at the peak. And the gold is lingering around 4,653. In 2 weeks, gold are dropping 15%. So in the next 2 weeks, if it drops another 15%, do you know where gold will be? This is the reality you are seeing. 2026 February. Now gold was lingering around 4,600. Around March, starting of March, it was lingering around 5,000, 5,200. It went all the way up around 2026, January, February. It went all the way back to up to 5,600. Today, as we speak, gold is selling at 4,653. That is where gold is selling. So, from what you are seeing, you can see, say every candlestick. That's how they call it. Every candlestick be a week. It's a week. So you see week by week how gold is dropping. Every one of the colors you see now is a candlestick, you know. Every week, you know. You see within from February, from March, you see weekly. You see how gold is dropping. You see how gold is dropping in price. And the price as I speak today is dropping. So why not Juma? Obeka Chrem say, we were not supposed to sell our gold. So we were supposed to keep the gold. For the gold to turn $1 again. So how did this guy become an economist? Telling us to say the government is hiding losses. How is the government hiding losses? The government was proactive. The governor of Bank of Ghana was proactive. The gold board CEO was proactive. They looked at the market and they realized that if they don't do something quickly, if they don't make sure they get rid of some of our reserve, because we already have our cap, which is 20%, it's sitting there. Our cap that we have to keep as a nation, 20% is there. We have not eaten into it. Whatever comes beyond or above the cap, we should be able to turn it into dollar. And the smartest leaders know that. That is how they were able to sell off the Dasrono. Today is sitting there as money. And today, if we need money seriously, we can use those dollars to work. Make sure we end the gold for me. Can you go and pick gold and say you want money today? No. It will take you a couple of days. Every time our process because we are not gold not see about $2. And that is what this government didn't want to do. And who is lying to who? Who is hiding what? And Kwasia Jandam. And there are some people on social media calling themselves journalists. They don't read, they don't analyze, they don't research. And Kwasia Kika, hey, NDC 4% more distracting more, and they see go down more Tomo Mukronis Kwasia Ba, Kwasia Kasa. In Kwasi forma. You don't read. Now, over now, bro, Chino, will catch you so crossing Ghana. At the end of my Obia will be. You cannot read. When Jimmy Titi politics na moye, Titi journalism na moye, the reality is there. The reality is there. And you're trying to do matama and just say, you did your biatam, when Jimmy Tini do matam. Do you trade in gold than me? Who trade your gold, Jamie? You don't trade in gold more than I trade in gold. Yes. It don't sit there and make it look like you are the only people who can say things for things to change. You started trading gold over 20 years. They started trading gold. I've been trading gold like 15, 20 years now. You cannot sit there and make it look like say you need any gold market. No. Now this guy, a biochemistry student, Kojo Ponkruma, biochemistry student. And then he's like, the government has been manipulating data to achieve favorable economic data. What does that even mean? Which data is the government manipulating? What is the government manipulating? Data being which data? What is your source? Where is your source? And on what basis? Because when you talk about mop up, and then I must start taking, there was some laws that government of Ghana or Mahama administration or the Bank of Ghana inherited. That loss, how did they get rid of it? When a government comes to power, the NPP left 60 billion loss at the Bank of Ghana. 60 billion. 60 billion. Now, if you want to do mop up, what is mop up? The issue is the more money you have in the system, the probability of you having inflation in your system is high. So sometimes what the NDP did was, because I know Muchesika ego system, a lot of banks had money, but there was so much going on in the system to the point where interest rate was so high, people were not going to the bank for the monies. People were not taking even loans. So the banks were sitting on money, and that was also causing a lot of inflation, because at the end of the day, the people system and bank. So what do? You need to create space in the economy so that people will be going after the city. Because when there's so much city in the system, and you don't mop up the system, what is going to happen is the system is going to choke into ultimate Ghana sika na any value bia. Now, the only way you can get your economy running or you can clean the system is to make sure the city is scarce. Now, the more it is scarce, the more people want to have access to the city, and then the banks get to work with people who want to work with the bank, whether to take loan or to save. So what you do as a government is sometimes you force the banks to withdraw some of the money to the central bank. Now, the central bank will have to keep the money. A policy. The central bank keeps some of the money, and then they create vacuum in the system. Now, those monies the central bank keeps, when the banks need the money, slowly they can start releasing the money slowly into the system. But the central bank will take those money, offloads, that is what we call the mop-up. So you create vacuums, then you keep. Then people start to chase the money. Now, when people start to chase the money, you start to release the money to the commercial banks. Slowly. It's the same money. Then people start to get access to the money. That is the only way you create vacuum for the system to start working. Because of the 60 billion, the Kana Bank of Ghana Boguano, this government was supposed to do a mop-up. It's a policy. Because when it comes, and there's so much money in the banks, and the interest rate is high, the lender's rate is high, and the inflation is high, people are not going to go to the bank for the monies. And that is what is going to cause inflation. So now what happens? The system chokes. Now, if you're a government and you are a smart banker, what you do is that you mop the system. Mopping the system does not mean you are hiding the money. You create vacuum in the system for people to chase, because it is only scarcity that is going to make people look for money. People try to come for loan. People try to save. Until when it creates that vacuum, that is when you are able to mop the system, to recalibrate the system, to bring it back. And that is what the Bank of Ghana did now. Nobody's manipulating any system. Nobody's manipulating anything. Nobody's touching anything. The system is running by itself. So data ni manipulate. The same people saying say Bawomia effort na ama data no system ni koye. Ade be china so be say system no be manipulate. What is what? This is the idiot. Listen to him. These foolish people.
You would recall that we have always insisted that the methods, Mr. President, the methods that this administration is using to achieve the numbers that they are publishing to you, those methods should be interrogated. But we have always said that it's not enough for your child to go to town and come back home with a brand new car for you to be happy. You need to examine the method with which the child brought that car and ask yourself, is it sustainable? Is it an appropriate method? So take inflation. We have consistently said that the method they are using to bring inflation down is sterilization. What sterilization means is that they mop up money from the system, because if people don't have money in their pockets, they can't exercise what we call in economics effective demand. And if they can't demand, prices will either stay where they are, or you, the seller, at a point will decide, let me reduce my prices and get rid of the stock. Now, we told you that in 2025, they sterilized about 62 billion cedis from the economy. They mopped it up and literally parked it at the central bank. It's never happened before in our history. It's what they call the shock approach to achieve that number of 3.3. That is what the governor is now saying, that the mop-up exercise has cost him about 17 billion cedis to bring it down to 3.3. But you see, that is to remove money from the system. It hasn't dealt with the cost of production, because electricity is going up, labor is going up, other inputs in production. Fees and charges, as you have rightly mentioned, in some cases more than even 100%. So the consequence is that you will see 3.3 inflation, and you have rightly said that the first problem you are worried about is that, however, in the market, effective demand has gone down. A lot of people are telling you they don't have money to be able to buy. It's because of the method they are using.
The guy is just playing around words. He's just playing around words. Sterilization. Onwankasa admits it in his statement, say, when the government came into power, when the Bank of Ghana governor came into office, 60 billion every buy. 62 billion na a good system ni muna na achoki system no. Where did it come from? One guy said, I thought you were going to say, the Bank of Ghana came and pumped 60 billion into the system. But you see, he was playing with words. He moved away from there and said, oh, they mopped it up. Now, where did the 62 billion, now, a begu system, a choking system, where did it come from? You are talking about charges. You are talking about electricity. You are talking about people not going for the money. The question here is, how did we end up with 60 billion in the market, which was not doing anything in the market? How did we end up with 60 billion? He did not talk about that. He quickly moved away from that because do you understand me? It is a the customer. He was just playing with words because he's doing politics. The question here is, if you want us to understand and believe what you are saying now, the 62 billion you were saying, say, mop up the money in the system. The Bank of Ghana mopped the money. They took the money out of the system. What was that money doing in the system? And the question is, if that money was in the system, how were you going to get rid of that money? Did you want the money to magically disappear? How were you going to get rid of it? Because remember, if you allow that money to stay in the system, your system is choked. Now, people are not coming for the money. So how do you drive the economy? The question is simple. How do you drive the economy? You are talking about mop up of 60 billion. Where did the 60 billion come from? Because if you want to mop up 60 billion from the system, you need to understand it's going to come with a cost. You made a loss of just closing down banks. Now, you put in 60 billion illegal money in the system. That has caused a lot of stalemate in the system. You expect people to try and fix that problem without incurring some cost? No, because every single money, cedi, you take out of the system, it means you are going to pay the cost for it. So who created the 62 billion in the first place? This is a biochemistry student too. He knows nothing about economy. He's just foolish. He's throwing words around. Let me show you something. You see this? Step by step, how they mop up liquidity. Mop up. The question is, the 62 billion, where did it come from? It is the 62 billion NPP for Bawumiamu Chagu system, a choky system. No. Now, if you want to understand the mop now, step by step, how they mop up liquidity. Step one, they detect too much money in the system. So when you detect too much money in the system, you find a way to get some of the money out of the system. Because if you don't do that, your economy is going to crash. It's going to be stuck. And if the governor and the Bank of Ghana had not done that, the $60 billion cities now, it would have crashed the economy. Because now, there's no space to do any business. People are not going to come for loan. Remember, interest rate and lenders rate is high. So how is somebody going to come for money? The interest rate on it is high, and also you have so much money in the system. So why is he coming for the money? And these things all go against the economy. And then you need somebody who is smart to understand and say, no, create a room, create space. Creating that space for people to also chase the money, it's called mopping up. And when they say create, and this will be Kutabaka, you need to sit people down. It's hours of work, administrative work. It also comes with costs. So if I'm mopping up 62 billion at a cost of 17 million, I don't think I've done a new loss, because you now want to cause a lot of damage to the country. Now, step by step, Kojo Ponkuma is a biochemistry student too. I can lecture him on about economics. He's just a liar. Step by step, Bank of Ghana monitors bank reserves, lending levels, inflation trends. That is step by step. They detect too much money in the system. Bank of Ghana monitors the bank reserves, the lending levels, and also inflation trends. So if there's too much cash sitting in the banks, risk of inflation. So the Bank of Ghana wanted to prevent inflation. So the only thing they could do was to withdraw or bring some of the money back home. The 60 billion muchagu system no. Like a Bank of Ghana more pay system no and creative vacuum. Creative space for system mo and kebenya inflation. And then anka obet me 100,000 Ghana no to tomatoes mienu. But they didn't want us to go through the Zimbabwe feeling now at a point Zimbabwe near to tomatoes me and $3 million. No, they didn't want us to do that. So the Bank of Ghana had to take an initiative. They need to look at the interest rate, that is the lenders rate. They need to look at air bank reserves, and also they have to look at the inflation trend. So to prevent inflation, Sene be sika no enho de no enko fom abra ye behia 20,000 Ghana to buy 2 tomatoes no. They need to create room. They need to take some of the money out of the system. Ekufuor ne ba omiamo printed 60 billion because of the elections. They didn't care the aftermath. They did not care what the 60 billion they were putting in the system going to do to us because they were just thinking about the elections. They were pumping money in the system, but it was affecting businesses. Businessmen were not making money. The inflation, the city was getting weaker and weaker because it was choked. Now, this is what they do again. The core idea, excess liquidity. You can say excess liquidity. That means too much cedis in banks and the economy. In Troüble, there was excess money in the system. Too much cedis in banks and in the economy. Now, when you get too much money in the system, sika, too much, everybody gets access to money, inflation goes up. That means, obuha okuta ahuma edibotri. Because obiawo 1 million Ghana share on kekeninti, obeton ahuma edibotri 20 million Ghana. Then it means you need 20 million Ghana cedis to buy ahuma edibotri. Abra on a normal day, abra ahuma edibotri does not have to cost 20 million Ghana. It is because there's so much money in the system, the value of the currency becomes weak. It cannot do what? Run the economy. So what you do is you create space, you mop the system, you take some of the money out. Who created the money in the first place? Who created the inflation in the first place? Who made interest rate high in the first place? It was the NPP. They put 62 billion Ghana cedis in the system. Now, people spend more. Demand rises, prices go up, inflation is the end game. So the Bank of Ghana steps in to pull money out of the circulation temporarily. So what they did was the Bank of Ghana, they came in and they started the mopping strategy, which is they told all the commercial banks, you have too much money. Now, not space in Bedim. Now, space in Bedema, people will be coming. They'll be asking for money. Now, we can now manage how the money flows in the system. Now, the money itself, the currency will start to gain its strength. That is how you fight inflation. You can say inflation, if you have less money in the system that is working the right way, it can fight inflation. Inflation is all about having too much or excess money in the system, whereby money loses its value. So, Emma Nyoma Bo, at the end of the day, I didn't also turn 2 cities near 10,000 Ghana, and that is the economics. So you need to be a leader. You need to be a smart person to do this. In the Sekojo Ponkroma, sorry, no catch Ghana for say, the Bank of Ghana is manipulating data, and that more papono. Bumbu Sekojo Ponkroma say the 62 billion he mentioned, who put it in the system? Me, I learned basic economics in Presec. Monsieur, basic economics in Presec. I'm not a smart student like that. But I can prove to you, say, Kojo Ponkroma is an idiot with Jimmy until you all can say. The question we need to ask upon Nkrumah, the 62 billion he mentioned, who created the 62 billion? Until he tells me where the 62 billion came from, he cannot talk about data manipulation here. He cannot talk about data manipulation. The same thing they read, we read the same thing. He's just playing with words. He's just lying. He's just using sterilization. And he knows nothing about economics. Kojo Ponkroma wa bon erade. Ghana pa erade. Hey, to me, sometimes we allow these things to go on. Then I ask myself, Ghana party. When did we stop reading? When did we stop asking questions? Teutia Kwanankasa statement, he shot himself in the foot. Or see, 62 billion. Where did it come from?
You would recall that we have always insisted that the methods, Mr. President, the methods that this administration is using to achieve the numbers that they are publishing to you, those methods should be interrogated. But we have always said that it's not enough for your child to go to town and come back home with a brand new car for you to be happy. You need to examine the method with which the child brought that car and ask yourself, is it sustainable? Is it an appropriate method? So take inflation. We have consistently said that the method they are using to bring inflation down is sterilization. What sterilization means is that they mop up money from the system, because if people don't have money in their pocket, they can't exercise what we call in economics effective demand. And if they can't demand, prices will either stay where they are or you, the seller, at a point will decide, let me reduce my prices and get rid of this stock. Now, we told you that in 2025, they sterilized about 62 billion cedis from the economy. They mopped it up and literally parked it at the central bank. It's never happened before in our history. 2025. Now, we told you that in 2025, they sterilized about 62 billion cedis from the economy. They mopped it up and literally parked it at the central bank. It's never happened before in our history. It's what they call the shock approach to achieve that number of 3.3. That is what the governor is now saying, that the mop-up exercise...
Where did the 62 billion come from? Where the government came into power in 2025 January. So the 62 billion you are talking about, where did they come from? If he buy, he moves away from that. Utisa jantra for Kraba and I'll take Ghana and I would danko for. The 62 billion that you are saying Bank of Ghana took out of the system, where did it come from? I thought you were going to say, Siama created 62 billion loss. I thought you were going to say, NDC almost printed 62 billion into the system. Now we need to first ask, where did the 62 billion come from? Kwasia. You shit and somebody comes to clean your shit for you. You turn around and say, me this year, I don't know, you people are crazy. You think Ghana belongs to you people. Let me tell you. You see, more education. Step 2. They offer attractive parking for banks. Bank of Ghana tell commercial banks, when they want to do those mop-ups, this is what they do. They say, bring your excess cash to us. We will give you a safe investment with interest. It's Bank of Ghana air mop system now. They don't just take the money without giving the banks back anything. No. Because every single day, Bank of Ghana, it needs to make some money out of it. The banks need to make interest because in Kofadiji loan, the bank too are using people's money to work. Even though excess money illegal, Ekufuad mutual system. So Bank of Ghana person more pap na. It was set or just as be good bank central banker. It was set otia som for somo. And that is what brings about those costs. It is sometimes, the Bank of Ghana to make us say, we would invest that money and give it to you back. Bank of Ghana bills. This is where tools like open market instruments comes in. When Bank of Ghana goes, they just don't take the money and those banks sit there. Every single cedi they take from the banks, they need to make sure they infrastructure for the banks. And they have different ways of doing what? Of making sure those monies they take, even keeping for them, they make money out of it. And when the investment the strategy comes in, the interests come in. Into there are other ways they are able to make that money to make money for them later. In the first place, they are creating room for the banks to be able to operate. The monies they are taking out of the system to keep for them, they still have to make sure infrastructure. Now, when you move forward, you see this. Step 7, they release money back later. That is when it is needed for those monies to go back into the system. Mop up, that's steps in a make sure. So they don't keep the money. They wait. When they think it is necessary for the money to go back into the system, the Bank of Ghana will give them back the money. But what happens? When inflation is under control, the moment more papono space better system anymore. Now people start to chase money because it will be driven by the demand for the money. And then about preventing inflation. Now they will see now people are now going for loans. People are now looking for the small money in the system. That is when the Bank of Ghana will see okay, now inflation is down. We can now release some of the money into the system for it to be adequate enough for people to get access to money. If they don't just pump all the money back, they gradually and I could sterilize them. And at the end, no, this is basic economics. Now, what they do again is they stop absorbing money. They let securities mature, return cash plus interest to banks. This injects liquidity back into the economy. So what the Bank of Ghana basically does is say, what happens is the they invest it in different forms. Into infrastructure, then they quickly, slowly inject it into the system. Into the Bank of Ghana cleaning up and at the same time investing through the cleanup. Into a mop up. Yes, it is not wrong for the banks to mop the system, but it is only right to mop when there is too much money in the system. And who created the excess money in the system? Is the NPP. The 62 billion Ghana cedis. Where did it come from? Inti, anytime I catch say, and I say social media ekasa and enim de oka. Take your time and listen to the facts. The facts are there. Could you pon kon kan okre or a biochemistry student? Ready. That go ball. Could you pon kroma met much economics? Or betrawa or didn't pay another koto suit because when some will be more Jimmy, Moon so be suit and use of Nyansa or Nim Nyansa ba kumpo. Could you pon kroma? Or Nim Nyansa bako. We were here. Time na NDC our position. Ato for some catch. In fact, I think it was after elections. Let me show you this. Governor of Bank of Ghana, he, as he sits there, he cannot just walk to England and say, open Ghana's gold for me and let me sell it to my cronies. Why, Jimmy, you don't understand even what you are talking about. In the NPP, you see some dirty people. Gold, as it sits, is very volatile. That means, anopa gold, you know, say 6,000, and 6, now gold number 2,000. You cannot trust it. Now, any country like Ghana, Sebio, you rely on gold, so Sebio as our source of income. Somehow, what we have to do is when we cap our gold, and when you go into the law, we have to cap our gold at 20%. Now, anything above 20%, you know, if we are smart as a nation, when the gold prices are up, we have to quickly turn that money or turn that gold into liquidity. That is into forex, into money, because you cannot. And the reason why your reserves, you know, you can say gold reserve or reserve near, and your gold in kwa, you can say a nation's reserve, a sika, for contingency purposes. That means that here sika into omani etiwono, you can say this is your reserve. See our 10,000 Ghana cedis in gold. Asemitu ya na, ye sika enime. We cannot just lift the gold and sell because gold is something that takes time to sell. And every time, you know, you need to cap your gold at a point. It is our gold that you cap it at 20%. So at 20%, you keep it as raw gold. Now that raw gold, you know, you don't touch it. Anything be abrusubiano. When you look at the world market, because it can fluctuate anytime, you know, you sell it off and you turn it into forex. That means you turn it into dollar. Now your gold reserve, you know, you keep it, and majority of our gold reserve is not even in Ghana. It is in the Bank of England. And maybe was Citibank, and maybe was SIB. So you don't just get up and say Ghana for the gold, you know, your cronies. Do you know the process you go through to even get gold? Actually, wait, Jimmy. Actually, I want to journalism. I say, actually, I won't read it. Now, gold drew a pointer. In the last 2 weeks, gold has depreciated about 15%. So those people talking about Ghana, your gold, you know, Kofi Benton in the group in the NPP for no say at the intina, your tongue gold, you know, when the prices were high. Let me ask them. Right now, gold in the last 2 weeks, it has depreciated 15%. You know, gold and almost 6,000, and there is below 4,000 or close to 4,000 and over. No? Do you expect us to sell the gold now? And I say, and then a person get on gold, you know. And these are people sitting on TV and radio, and they want to create an impression. Say, Obiti Bank of Ghana, they go crabim internopano, no a friend and now for OJ. It has not worked like that. Now, whether the gold goes up or goes down, still Ghana government or the gold board still needs to buy gold. That means, say, as you are buying the gold, it could be, say, and then you're on 6,000 an ounce. At the gold, you know, at from about 3,000 an ounce. It does not mean, say, you have to stop buying the gold. And that means you, the people selling the buying the gold, and that's a gold board, you know, they will have to be smart enough to understand the say gold near ton of system. You know, we will have to negotiate well with the sellers. Send your buyer, say prices in fluctuate here. It will not go too much against us and then your friend administrative cost. In the same people focus say gold board in the Bank of Ghana boka, you will be for an administrative cost. As you are dealing in gold, the gold price does not stay at one place, it fluctuates. In Tebia and the Otonya for so 2 cities are Ochina, the market has fluctuated. Okoton Obasaboka 1 city. And through that, you start to do what? Shift things around. And then your friend administrative cost at the end of the day, no, oh yeah, calculation, you about what to mean 10 billion. But there's an administrative cost. You cannot say losses. Because when you are buying gold at the end of the day, because you are dealing in gold or doing gold business does not mean you have to halt the gold prices. The gold prices keeps going up and down. That does not mean gold board should sit there and wait till the prices get flat or get even, or does not mean move before they buy gold. No. They have to be buying gold. So as you are dealing in gold, at different prices, but it will favor, it will go against you. So through that, you do your math, and then you also have to strike good deals with the sellers. Senebeya, you do not make a loss, or you don't make losses. It is all to and say, Bank of Ghana sold our gold reserve to hide 2025 losses. Where are you coming from? What is your basis for that argument? It is just political. It means you are stupid. You don't understand what you are saying. It is some time. These people just want to say things and just walk away. But reality, there's nothing like Kurabebi Nesi Bank of Ghana and a gold nugum and a dear and Siam and Samij fit to say, hey, when I end this in Brabejibi, it does not work like that. In this artist will be friend of journalist, not TV, so to radio. So can say, and this if what on gold in Mamma or Quasia on ready on Tiasia, he does not or she does not understand the gold trade. They have no knowledge about where the gold even ends. Because you can see a reserve now. We cannot leave all our reserve, our gold reserve in gold. That would be stupid. What if our gold reserve is $100 billion? Now, at the gold was 6,000. Now, the next day, at about 1,002. It means it's not 100 billion again. It has dropped to about 20 billion. But then, if you save about 20%, you cap it, you keep 20%, and when the prices go to 6,000 an ounce, you sell the rest now. It means you can convert that gold into dollar. You keep that too. Because when it comes to dollar, what happens is it takes time for the dollar to depreciate. And also gold, because it's volatile, it can take 24 hours to depreciate maybe 20%. The last 2 weeks, gold depreciated 15%. Into maybe of event and question for we say. Into Nanko see a trying for the last 2 weeks after it depreciate for gold board to do what to sell and this is basic economics. This is basic administrative work you have to do. Into maintain you get some people following this argument and saying say NDC for atom gold amomo cronies. Do you know the rigorous process gold goes in or goes through before they will say this is gold, it is in your reserve? Do you know? The Bank of Ghana governor, he cannot even get up and say I'm going to go touch Ghana's gold reserve. He can't. Nobody in Ghana can get up one day and say I am going to UK, open the vote, this is our gold, give me some. Nobody can do that. So they just don't make just vague statement, and they are hiding losses and they are hiding this. Nobody's hiding anything. The Bank of Ghana governor says, if you want him to open the books, come and see it. SCMI is inviting you, dumb idiots. Go and see it. Sure say you be a company they have not made administrative loss before. But the question here is, did Gold Board bring in money? Yes. How much? 10 billion. If you are saying say Gold Board aboka, now a canon administrative loss, to say you are talking about a Bank of Ghana. Almost say Kojo Ponkruma was saying say. Kojo Ponkruma telling us to say, the government has been manipulating data to achieve favorable economic data. What the fuck is that? Kojo Ponkruma learned biochemistry in school, and so and they are in nature economics. Kojo Ponkruma, the background biochemistry. Oh, some people for Jimmy. Oh, you see, NPP, they are very foolish. Kojo Ponkruma, the background biochemistry. And the Ponkruma person catch the economics near to Abama Baumia. Now Baumia not to one and no Ebuntu. Why is he not speaking on the economy? Why is Baumia not being a man intelligent enough to organize lectures to prove to us to say some data is being manipulated to favor the government data? This boy's background is biochemistry. How can a failed biochemistry student come and tell Ghana how we have to manage our economy?
I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal in Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.